Hi, Kevin Blanch. Today I'm going to get back talking about your money. Apple. I've been off in right brain, coming back to left brain. Our money. Now, you people that watch my videos, you know I've been chirping Apple for a long time. Apple, IBM, tech stocks. Of course, I said short IG. I was dead wrong on it. I still say short it. Okay, in the context of Apple, we all know the news that came out on Jobs yesterday. We all know his health issues. It come out yesterday, the stock takes a hit today. But the one thing you've got to think about this. Management is thinking about share price. Management is thinking about their investors. That's the number one key thing with a big, fat company like this that's making gargantuous sums of money. They forget about their shareholders. Microsoft has totally forgot about their shareholders the last decade. Totally forgot. A lot of great, big, huge companies totally forget. GE did, all of them. They give a shit. You know, they're all about their freaking money at the top. That's corporate America. This is a very good sign for Apple investors. It puts the focus on that management is thinking about shareholders. They released the news on the day that the stock market is closed. Day before earnings. Now we know they blow out earnings every quarter. This company is a mega money-making monster. We know they sandbag on earnings every single quarter. They cookie jar. They've been doing it forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, they know how to play this game to a T. Look, I'm a fundamentalist. I'm not a technician. I'm not saying anything bad about technicians. If it works for you, more power to you. I'm a fundamentalist. Fundamentalists, we care about really one thing. Earnings and revenue growth. Earnings growth, revenue growth, money. Making money. Revenue earnings. You know, I love a basic... I still use the very, very basic tools as a financial analyst. Forward PE ratios. It's still my number one favorite thing. I mean, it's been proven over time how powerful it is. You know, of course, you have to have strong revenues too, revenue growth. Now look at that too. Okay, in the context of Apple, their earnings per share is off the hook. Their multiple, their forward multiple, is historically still low, very low. Their historical forward PE, if you go to the history of the company, is in the neighborhood of 22, 23. What are we, 16 today? 15? Depending on what this number comes out. I got a hunch this number is going to be a monster tonight. Well, I still say it's a great buy. And in the context of Steve Jobs himself, look, the man had pancreatic cancer, for God's sakes. Do you know what the survival rate in this country of pancreatic cancer is? Very, very low. This man is amazing. You want to talk about a story. He has cheated death, you know, multiple times. He amazes me. And he's gone back to work. He's an incredible, we all know, he's an absolute incredible genius. How many tech companies, okay, through the duck, I was a derivatives trader. I worked on Wall Street when this madness was going on in the freaking 90s. And you could throw darts and freaking make money. And when it all come tumbling down, so you had all these companies. And then even good companies' share price imploded. And even good companies, great technology companies' share price has not come back. Of course, IBM's an exception. They're another one, great one. You know, but even the, Sun Micros of the world, Novell's, Omega. I mean, I live right here. We had WordPerfect, we had Novell. Just so you know, it's in my book, the whole chapter on the WordPerfect, Novell, Omega implosion here in Utah. But anyway, none of them recovered. None of them. Okay, so Apple imploded. What was it, $7 a share? Here comes Steve Jobs back to the rescue. You know, start with a little teeny freaking device that plays music. You know, I'm like, wow, whatever. You know, it's just a freaking spoof on the Walkman. Boy, was I stupid and wrong on that. This stock has just grown and grown and grown and grown. And I think there's a much bigger issue. This company is going to go on without Jobs. It is so massively monstrous now. It's not what it was 10 years ago. It's not what it was 20 years ago. Steve Jobs was so key and important. This thing is a monster of its own now. We're talking the biggest company maybe in the world now. Market cap, I think it is. If not, it's right there. It's close to the biggest company on earth. They've taken people apart. I wrote a big article a year and a half, 2 years ago, saying if Nokia doesn't, take it on, their arrogance, they're going to go back to being a timber company. Because freaking, when they move into Europe, Apple's going to mow these guys down. And Nokia's arrogance, Palm. I've been involved in that for 10 years. Again, that's all in my book. I was heavily involved. Just so you know, that was the day that the market capitulated. The day of the Palm IPO. I was on Wall Street. I was heavily, heavily involved. That's all in my book. But anyway, Apple took them apart. Apple took all these guys apart because they were arrogant and stupid. These guys keep moving. They're amazing. This is not just Steve Jobs anymore. They have a whole massive team of incredible. This is a monster. The bigger issue is not Steve Jobs' health, if you're a shareholder. It is antitrust. Now look, we know this country has empowered corporations so massively that they don't have to obey their own laws. They are in violation. We know that. They're in violation right now. Big time. But we know. Wall Street is so powerful, corporate America is so powerful, just because the corporations break law doesn't mean shit. We don't go after them. Look, we went after Microsoft. Okay? They lost. Of course, Bush got elected and says, okay, go away. Be careful what you ask for. Microsoft didn't give a damn about their shareholders. Bill Gates gives a damn about his money is all he ever cared about. All he ever cared about. He stole everything he had from, Netscape, WordPerfect, everything. So don't even try to compare in the antitrust and the monster Microsoft with Apple. Steve Jobs is like night and day from Bill Gates. Steve Jobs is 1,000 times the man Bill Gates ever dreamed to be. Bill Gates, it actually physically makes me nauseous to hear him give a statement here a few years ago that he wished he didn't have all that. Please. He illegally wiped out Netscape. He illegally wiped out freaking WordPerfect right here. If you don't remember, WordPerfect had 99% of the market. That's all in my book. I write how he did this. Yeah, some of them come down to a man's sexuality, believe it or not. Well, anyway, Jobs isn't that. But at some point, Microsoft should have broke up. If they would have done what the government wanted them to do, you would have had 4 or 5 different companies. The share price would have been 5 times what it is now. At least double, triple. That stock has done absolutely nothing. We know that. I've been buying it just because I thought maybe they will break it up. And it's got a little pop the last few weeks. But in Apple, some point they're going to have to divide this thing up. Antitrust is going to come into play. Okay, say they did divide it up and you went into 4 or 5 different divisions. Think about it. The Mac, the iPhone, maybe the iPad, applications. They could divide this thing into 10 if they wanted, but say they divided it into 4 or 5 of their key components. All 5 would be mega home runs. Mega home. They fire on every single one. This isn't just about the freaking iPhone. Their Mac sales, you got a whole generation that grew up using Macs, and they're going crazy. They're taking market share every freaking day. This thing's going to grow and grow and grow and grow. If you're a young investor, no, and I rant and rave about this a lot, no, when you go into the market, you are gambling. And anybody that, you put money in a 401k, if you don't have the guts to babysit your portfolio and be on it, don't trust a 401k guy to watch your money. They don't care. They don't even work. They lay on the freaking beach. Just buy the market. They window dress at the end of the quarter. You don't even know what they have, and it's legal. Okay, it's gambling. But if you're willing to take some risk on, I think Apple is an absolute home run, even at these levels. And you're going to get a discount today. I help manage a couple people's clients' money. Not my own, but some others. I do own some Apple stock. Not a lot. I don't have a whole lot of money these days, but what I do have. But I'm going to go back in here this afternoon, and I think I'll buy a little bit more, and I'll probably hedge it with some puts on the bottom end. I know they're outrageously expensive, but this stock could take another little hit, and if God forbid Steve Jobs passes away, but it's inevitable that he's going to be away from this company more than 6 months at some point. The man has pancreatic cancer. He had a liver transplant. We all know the implications, but I think he will go down in history as the greatest CEO of our time. the greatest CEO in the last 40, 50, 60 years. I mean, people want to talk about Welch, they want to talk about Gates, they want to talk about Chambers, they want to talk about... None of these guys are what Steve Jobs is. And the thing, I mean, he's redefined his company. How many companies have done this? They go like this, implode, he steps back, and he does it again even bigger. It is the American story. He's the greatest CEO of our time, and he cares about shareholders. These other guys, you think they care about shareholders? You think Ellison, Chambers, freaking Gates, you think they care about shareholders? They could give a rat's ass. They're selfish. I mean, you're talking Ellison and Gates, probably the two lethargic, biggest egos that ever walked. They could give a damn about shareholders. But it proves to me that Apple does care about shareholders. I'm going to buy some more. And it's like I said, at some point, there's going to come the issue of antitrust. This company is going to have to break up. Bottom line, it's going to happen at some point. This political discourse that we have and this radical craziness that we have in the political arena is going to end. At some point, it's going to stop. I mean, not completely stop, but to this level to where it's at. And there's going to be an antitrust lawsuit at some point filed against them, and that's not going to be a bad thing. But I think they know this. I think they're going to be out in front of this. Long before anything, a suit comes down, I think they are going to divide it. I really believe that it'll happen. You know, maybe not now, maybe not a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, 3 years from now. But this company's going to keep growing. But at some point, they're going to have to divide up. And if they did divide this up and you got 5 separate companies, wow, what a home run that would be. Like I said, Microsoft, be careful what you ask for. They spent hundreds of $millions fighting the Justice Department. If they would have went ahead and did what the Justice Department asked and they did, you know what their share price would be today? Again, it proves to me, Microsoft doesn't give a damn about their shareholders. Most corporations don't. That's where, as an investor, you have to understand that. You are buying the CEO. And see, I think Apple investors know that, and they have bought Steve Jobs' incredible, brilliant mind. But this thing is so big, Cook, these other guys, I think they've been groomed, and I think they've been prepped. I think he has some very brilliant people, and I think they're going to continue. They have all the best of the best. My God, they have a mega monopoly on the industry. So they've hired all the best software people, all the best young minds, all the best IT guys, all the best application people. They have them all. They all work for Apple. So stay with me. My price target on Apple, even if it dips like this, even if something tragically, God forbid, happens to Jobs, if that happens, the stock's going to take a big hit. We know that, but it's going to be temporary, and it's going to go back. So if you're buying for long term, but as a young investor, no. 401k money managers, you know, your stockbroker don't get out of bed till 9 o'clock. Don't even use stockbrokers. You're using a stockbroker, you're a fool. You are a totally fool. 401k, they don't care. They do not care. They're self-indulged. If you're going to invest in the stock market, do your own thing. Use your own brain and babysit your own portfolio. Even if you have a mutual fund or whatever, understand who has it, what it is, where it's at. Again, Kevin Blanch, January, what are we doing, 18th, 2011. Apple's earnings today. I say it's a buy now. I say it's a buy tomorrow. I say it's a buy next week. My price target is in my 3-year price target. People are going to think I'm crazy. Well over 5.